I was thinking about what I could ask you. My wheels were turning in my head, and then I realised that I think it was you, the Fantastics, versus the Midnight Express in Dallas in '85, where Jim Cornette outside was handcuffed to a giant of a man called Little John.
That was at Texas Stadium.
Texas Stadium.
Texas Stadium. Little John, 7'8". Little John. Dutch probably knows who he is. Big John
What's his name?
Harris. Big John Harris. He
Oh,
was
I
seven
remember
foot
him.
eight.
He was
Huh?
called Silo Sam occasionally as well, if you know that name.
He worked in
How many
Memphis.
how many people attended that show? 40,000?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's that one. Maybe the first one. But I remember that show real well. As a matter of fact, working in that Texas Stadium show. James, what was you going to ask me?
I was going to ask you, is Little John Silo Sam the worst giant in wrestling history?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. They brought him out.
I like when Bobby goes, well, this is
he,
it. This is
they brought him out on TV, and the first thing he did was got down on his knees in the ring. And I said, "Get up, man! Why would you do that?" So I ripped him so much. We were going to Lubbock, Texas. I said, "Hey, listen, you have gotten so much fan mail. They're gonna have to bring it to the arena in a wheelbarrow." Oh, he was going nuts. He thought it was really something, you know. But yeah, he was hard. He was hard to do business with.
Who discovered him first? Where was he found?
You know, he was in that Pee Wee Herman's movie, right?
No.
He was in the movie Big Adventure. And I don't know what happened, but James, later on, I wrestled for him one time, right? In Maryland. He was running shows. And he was running this arena where he paid the rent until 9 o'clock. Well, he didn't take into consideration that the show might run over. So at 9 o'clock, the power was shut off. And there the money from the gate was. And all of a sudden, it went, they just brought him the gate money in and set it down. And the lights went out. And I heard him say, "Grab a gun, somebody." He thought he was getting robbed, right? But then he finally realized that, you know, how crazy the business is, Dutch. You know, all of a sudden they bring the gate money in. As soon as it sits down on the table, the lights go black. And I mean, there ain't a light nowhere. Everything's out. He only paid the rent on 9 o'clock, and it was over. But he was a real different guy. He had a big growth on the side. If you look past his blue jeans, it was like a basketball sticking out of his gut. And he was in some pretty rough shape, actually. You know, Little John, Little John.
never.
It's-
I don't know the name, but I never met that guy.
From what I've seen, it's amazing. He was like 7'8" or something. Yet he was still
Yes,
built like
he
a
was.
pear.
Yes, he was like a pair. And one of his legs was about, it was because he had something wrong with him, it was real big round. I mean, and the other leg was skinny. So, yeah, he struggled to get around, actually, you know. But he ran in the mid 80s. He went on a tour like he was Hulk Hogan. And he was going to little towns and drawing money because 7'8", right? I mean, just to see that alone. And he drew some money in some towns, being outlaw promoter, you know. But I didn't hear anything of him after that. But check him out. Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure. He's in one of those movies.
Did they ever do one of those things where they got him on the back of a trailer and just drove him around the like town or something like that, or did they not do that with him?
Probably done stuff like that. Yes, yes. Probably done stuff like that. That's how you would promote back then, you know, and just have your picture put in the paper, right? He'd go meet the mayor of the town. Here he is, 7'8". He'll be wrestling tomorrow night. Everybody come out and see him. I mean, it's a spectacle, you know. It's a lot different than it is now. We see people like that, but yeah, he was different.
See, I told, because I'd heard a story that Tony Atlas had to do the same thing. It was like Tony Atlas and, I don't know, Larry Zabisco and other people had to do the same thing. And Dutch was like, no, that was something from the Carnival days. They wouldn't like parade, whatever. And then I'd interviewed Tony Atlas really soon afterwards, and he said, tell Dutch, I promise you, they got him on the back of a trailer in like the mid-70s, late 70s, had him hit the pose. You'll see him, you'll see him at so-and-so arena or armory tonight.
Right. Well, let me tell you this. When I wrestled for World Class Wrestling out of Dallas, our TV went into Israel, right? They took us over to Israel, and it was unbelievable. And here's how they promoted us. They walked us down the street, and here we was walking down the streets of Haifa, Tel Aviv, different cities in Israel, and people would take us in their house and put the video in and said, we taped the Saturday night. They told us that Saturday night at 8 o'clock when wrestling was on TV, there was no bombs, no fighting, no nothing. But they paraded us through the streets. And people couldn't believe it because they were watching us on TV from America. And now they looked out the window and there we were walking down the street of their town. As a matter of fact, so much so that I've got a picture, I didn't realize it then, of us meeting Shimon Peres, who was the then prime minister. David Manning came to us and said, hey, Shimon Peres wants to meet you guys. We said, who? And he said, the prime minister, he's equivalent to the president of the United States. We said, really? So we went and met him. I took my pictures with him. It wasn't until probably 10 years ago, I was looking at the pictures. I said, man, that's Shimon Peres. I didn't realize I met him. And when we were in Israel at the same time, Sylvester Stallone was there, filming First Blood. And a bunch of the guys went and met him. And a guy by the name of Duke Swenson was with us. Did you ever hear of Duke Swenson, Dutch and James? Mm-hmm. And when Sylvester Stallone seen him, he fell in love with him. He wanted to put him in the movies because Zeke had arms that was unbelievable and a big guy, right? But Zeke never got into Stallone's movies, but he was in the Batman movie. Remember, he was Bane in Batman with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. So, he was over there in Israel with a suit Zeke Swenson.